So I wanted to start using a new term, and that was mundane awakening. And that's because I want to differentiate between what we call transcendence or transcendent awakening and worldly awakening. And the reason why I want to do that is because I think it can be helpful to avoid misunderstanding. First, we have to understand why there is such a difference, why there might be a difference between something called worldly awakening and transcendent awakening. And then in general, for any type of awakening, you need an initial impetus or catalyst, something that's going to allow you to seek liberation. And in terms of worldly awakening or mundane awakening, then that catalyst, that impetus, is this desire to be free of our worldly anxiety and our worldly suffering. It's to seek psychological healing and some kind of peace of mind. I mean, to give you a very simple example, you could be an alcoholic, quite a severe alcoholic, and although you've got a strong addiction to drinking, then in the back of your mind there's always this awareness that that's not doing you any good, that by being an alcoholic it's only increasing your suffering. And so at some point things have to get bad enough that you tell yourself, that's it, I've had enough. I've got to get beyond this. I've got to escape. And then based on that, you start to seek help. You seek help from others, right? You might look on the internet, you might talk to a friend, but basically you're searching for a way out. And for many, then they discover something called Alcoholics Anonymous. And this has helped millions of people all over the world. But the first step, the inception, the impetus, the catalyst that can start this process of psychological healing is this recognition that things aren't right. The recognition that I've got stuff I need to change. So in general, for this worldly awakening, that impetus is the same. It's kind of a recognition that I am the architect of my own downfall. I am primarily responsible for my own mundane suffering. Morning.
How are you?
Good, thank you very much. Go for it.
I can't go for it anymore. I'll try.
Well done.
How far are you going?
I'm just going for a walk and recording a video blog.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But how far are you walking?
I don't know, I've never been down this path
Have
before.
you?
No, it's my first time.
So when did you arrive?
Well, I've been here for a year now.
Have you?
Yeah, so I usually
You've
go
never been
walking on
down
this.
here in a year.
Well, I usually walk down the other side
Do you?
because I stick near my parents.
Uh-huh.
But I thought I would go have a look today because there's a bit of sunshine. It's been raining for a few days.
You've come from Nepal.
I was in Nepal for 8 years,
Okay.
and then I came here in September last year because my parents got sick.
Uh-huh.
I ended up in hospital.
Okay.
My brother sent me an email and I kind of got on a night flight, came straight over. And I've been here ever since.
And where were you before that?
I was in the island of Arran in Scotland.
Oh.
We have a retreat centre there. I
you?
spent 4 years there
Yeah?
and then 8 years in Nepal.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So how long have you been practicing?
Oh, for about 20 years or so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Where was the first monastery?
Scotland.
In Scotland.
Yeah, a
In
place
Arran.
called Samiling.
In Arran.
Well, Arran is our retreat centre, but the monastery is in somewhere called Estelmuir in Scotland. It's on the borders of England and Scotland. It was the first Tibetan monastery in the West.
Is that the same as the Dalai Lama?
Yes, it's the same as
it-
Dalai Lama. It's
yeah.
Tibetan, yeah.
We
Tibetan
wa-
tradition.
Unfortunately, Desmond Tutu's no longer here.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Dalai Lama still is, right?
Yeah, that might have happened when I was in retreat.
Could have been.
Yeah.
think it was 2015, 17.
Yeah, I
maybe?
was in retreat then.
Okay.
I missed a lot. I
you
missed
saw-
a load of things. I missed Trump. I missed COVID.
You didn't miss Trump.
I didn't miss Trump. Okay.
You missed COVID, that was good.
I missed ISIS. Yeah. Well, it
Oh.
happened when I was in Erin.
Yeah?
And I came to visit my mum, and she kept talking about ISIS, 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 ISIS. And I said, Mum, what's ISIS?
Right, I've got to get on with my run.
Okay, don't let yourself cool down.
Enjoy your walk.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Go
Nice
to
to
the
meet
river.
you. I will do.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.
Wherever you go, you meet nice people. I think in general, the Canadians are nice, but there's nice people all over the world. So anyway, where was I? So we've got this impetus. It inspires us to seek kind of liberation from our suffering. And the first step is to recognize that we are the principal architects of our unhappiness. And so the example of an alcoholic is very clear, right? Or a heroin addict. Their addiction, something they think is positive and that they crave, brings about all their worldly unhappiness and only perpetuates their suffering. So what is the impetus or the catalyst for transcendence? Well, this is something called renunciation. And I don't mean renunciation as in being a renunciate, being a monk or a nun. I mean, that's related to this kind of renunciation. But what the Buddha taught was that there is not 1 ounce of happiness in the mundane world. And so this is the basis of renunciation. It's recognizing the unsatisfactory nature of mundane existence and how no matter where you are born in the 6 realms of samsara, even if you're born in the God realms, then you will experience unhappiness and suffering. And also you will be complicit in the suffering of others. And once you have this renunciation, once you have this belief that there is no happiness to be had in samsara, then that likewise encourages you to seek out a solution. And for that, then you have to look to others. Because we don't know what enlightenment is like. And we've never been there, right? And also as beginners on the spiritual path, then we haven't got the tools in order to bring about this deep spiritual transformation. So there's this mundane psychological transformation, and there's a deep spiritual transformation. And the end result of this deep spiritual transformation is what we call emancipation from the mundane world, or liberation. And there's a huge difference between these, between this worldly awakening and this transcendent awakening. And so I've decided now, everyone I hear online who's talking about awakening is basically referring to this mundane awakening. And that's not a negative thing, that's a very positive thing. You have to start somewhere. And also, people can't be blamed. Because in the eyes of noble beings and accomplished masters, then basically we're like children. I mean, for example, you've got a child and their mother goes out to work every day as a police officer. And so that child will pretend that they're going to work, that they're a police officer. They put on a hat and they put their school jacket on backwards and they say, "Mummy, I'm going to work as a police officer." They're kind of pretending, right? And that's the way we are with our mundane awakening. But their parent, their mother, doesn't get angry with the child when they're pretending. For example, if the child believes they're going to be an astronaut and fly to the moon, then that doesn't irritate or anger the parent. The parent looks on that child with love and affection, but also realizes that this childish game is kind of silly. Because a mother knows what it's like to actually work in the police force. She knows the complications, the challenges, but also the boring bits. You know, mundane interaction in the coffee room. And the child doesn't really have any experience of any of that. And so we're like that child on the spiritual path. And when the noble beings and the accomplished masters, not only that, people who are learned in the scriptures, hear us talk about our mundane awakening, then they look upon us with affection, the way a parent looks on their child with affection. It reminds me of a story I heard about Ramana Maharshi. And one of his students had asked him about enlightenment and awakening. And Ramana Maharshi had said, "You don't need to worry about that. You wouldn't want to be enlightened. Because when you're enlightened, you would lose you. There would no longer be you." And this is so true. It's like our mundane awakening. The truth is, we don't really want to be liberated from samsara. We're very attached to this world and our experiences, and we don't want to let go of them. And it's only once one has completely given up hope for any positive results in the mundane world that one can enter on the path of liberation. That's what it means to enter the spiritual path. So our path is a mundane path. But even in the mundane world, there are lesser and greater paths. There are significant results and there are commonplace results. And so you have to do your best to make progress in the mundane world. I mean, that's a starting point. And with that, first, you need to recognize the source of suffering. And also, the source or the cause of happiness. And the way it's taught in the Mahayana Dharma is that that cause for well-being and happiness is love and compassion and concern for others. So do your best to find this love and to develop it in a sincere manner in your life, and to look with eyes filled with affection on those who are downtrodden, and also not to feel jealousy towards those who are better off than you. As I've said before, we're all in this together. We've got to pull like a team. We're not going to get anywhere if we're all at each other's throats. I mean, these days, the world is so polarized. And the result of this is the perpetuation of human suffering. The Buddha taught that hatred can never overcome hatred. It is only love that can overcome hatred. So, thank you for listening, and I'll see you again soon.